Hi everybody, it's Stan. My video today is going to be about what is the dump phase in Mercury detox and ways to get through this time. As always, I have my disclaimer information right here. You can read through that. Basically, I am not a doctor. I'm an engineer by degree and 40 years of practice, I guess. I was Mercury and 10 other metals, heavy metals, toxic through amalgams and through some work exposure. And I went through, I guess, the school of hard knocks trying to figure out what was causing my symptoms and, how to detox, how to get well, basically. So I just kind of move right along here. This is a website I have. I started it when I was still pretty messed up, so it's not very organized. If anything, you can subscribe there, get on my list, and every now and then I might send some information out. I rarely do that, so it's not like you're going to get spammed with a lot of information. But you can subscribe. My main goal in all my videos is to just open people's minds to other possibilities of why they're sick, okay? Why they don't feel well. If you believe something and it's incorrect, we'll never find the true root cause. And that's kind of the way our human minds work, that once we have a belief, it's, people challenge your beliefs, you get almost like mad and angry, and you have all these feelings inside. And so it's kind of hard to change your beliefs. So the yellow stuff I have in every video. I don't go over it all, but it's very important. It's kind of like the basics of when anybody approaches me about things. I want to cover the bases. I never start wherever you're at, no matter what you think you're doing right or wrong. I always go back to this stuff because, for instance, if you miss MTHFR and you're not opening those detox pathways and you're doing oral chelation, a lot of people get really messed up doing that. So I always go back to basics, okay? So you can read through those items. These are very important. The purple one here, very important. My main detox method was boosting glutathione, which I did by addressing my MTHFR issue. I do a couple videos on that, so you can look for that. I also took something called ASEA, and then once I was able to sweat, and once I was able to eat sulfur-based foods again, because I was intolerant to them, I started eating them, and it helped all the detox. So, but the key for me was MTHFR and removing my amalgams. So let's get into the actual point of my video, talking about the dump phase. The dump phase is when the body realizes that all the amalgam exposure is removed, and it decides it's safe to dump what might be stored in our tissues. I use the word tissues. People want to get technical out there and say it's not really your tissues, it's this, that, and the other thing. All I mean by that, it's not, your body tries to not store mercury and bad things in your organs. It tries to protect itself that way. So it puts it into, I call it fatty tissues. Some people might even see that they're gaining weight because their body's creating a place to store this stuff. Mercury has a tendency to not want to come out of the body. Okay? And it won't detox from the tissues until you remove the exposure, until you get the amalgams out. So if you're getting your amalgams out safely, that's great. That's then what happens after that is you may encounter this dump phase, which I'm talking about. The longer you've been toxic, the more that might be stored in you, and the worse your dump may feel. That's not exactly true, but that's generally speaking. Everything I say here, I would say, is fairly accurate for most people, but some people will have a whole different experience. That's what makes being toxic so hard and detoxing so hard, is everybody's different. Okay, and what worked for one didn't work for another type thing. So number 3, mercury will store inside us when the body cannot get rid of it anymore from your daily exposure that's coming from your amalgams. The FDA recently published a statement saying that anybody with amalgam that's in a high-risk category could be affected by this stuff. And it actually said in writing that they do give off vapor. Okay, that's pretty important that the FDA is actually stating that in writing. We all knew it for a long time, but now it's coming out from the authorities that we trust and look to for guidance. A lot of people have been told there's nothing wrong with amalgams because nobody with authority yet has come out and said that they could be the cause of their problems. Anyway, you don't want to get to this place where the body can't fight it anymore, because you could start getting way worse very fast. Okay, instead of years and years of not feeling well and slowly kind of getting worse and having more illnesses and more symptoms and more so-called diseases, all of a sudden now, boom, it's like in weeks to months you're really getting messed up, and some people end up like literally bedridden. Not something to take lightly. Number 4, some people have a very harsh dump. Others say they never dumped at all. What I tell them is maybe they did, but they didn't realize it, or it was a very minor dump. They didn't really feel it as bad as some people with a bigger dump. Okay. Generally, I would say the longer you've had toxicity in you, the bigger your dump might be. Okay, because you've got more stuff stored in you. That's why the sooner you get the amalgams out, the better. Number 5, the dump comes out of nowhere. I'll show you a chart in a few minutes, but you actually feel more normal right after the amalgam is removed. Like I felt like an instant relief when my last amalgam was removed. And then for days and a few weeks, you're thinking, wow, I'm actually feeling better. Like all the symptoms have stopped, and geez, maybe I'm going to get well, and maybe I'm actually detoxing a little bit. And then you realize, you're happy that you removed your amalgams, and then wham, out of nowhere, you feel horrible. For me, I went out one night. I play in a band. I go see music. I was feeling fine. I couldn't wait to go out again. Finally feeling fine, and I had no idea what hit me. It just like a ton of bricks, like a train ran into me. I like to comment about things. Like, to me, the mental, emotional torment of this was almost worse than the physical, because you're feeling like you're getting better and everything's going great, and you're nervous about that. Like every day you wake up, am I okay now? Am I, like when you're pretty sick, you're almost minute to minute, hour to hour, looking at symptoms all the time. At least that's how I got. Nice thing is, after you get detox, you don't think about it anymore. It's not part of your daily thought process as much as it used to be. So anyway, when you start feeling really, really bad, when this dump hits, you get really, really nervous, like what's going on. So, I went home. I left where I was, trying to figure out what the heck did I do? Did I eat something? Am I getting the flu? It's like getting the flu, but 100 times worse, all at once. I went to one of my groups, and they confirmed it's probably the dump phase. Okay. So I already talked about how some don't have dump phase, and what happens is they may be trying to detox, often with oral chelation, and having very bad results. And then what they might find out is, they went to one dentist or 2 or even 3 dentists, or maybe even more. I know people that have done that. And every dentist said, all your amalgam's gone, nothing to worry about. And then they're trying to detox, especially with oral chelation, and maybe not addressing MTHFR, which is very important about having that pathway open. And they're having really, really bad results. I know one person who was like for 3 years struggling, and everyone else is telling them, I'm feeling great, I'm doing better. And they're still feeling terrible and getting sicker. And finally, they found a tiny, tiny little speck of amalgam sitting in there that was not removed. So be very, very careful about that. It doesn't take a lot, and that little bit can impede the mercury from coming out. Okay. The dump phase happens about, I say, roughly 3 to 6 weeks. That's when I remember mine, after all the amalgam is removed. Now, you can have amalgam fillings, you can have a crown, it could be under a crown. I believe even in some old root canals they might have used amalgam. So, a lot of different ways. You need to get that all checked. It could be longer than 3 to 6 weeks when it happens. I'll show you a chart in a minute that says 2 to 4 months. Again, this is all relative numbers. If it hits you at 2 weeks, maybe it's you, but you'll know when it hits. It peaks at month 6 through 9. The word I use is horrendous symptoms at that time. I guess I can describe the symptoms a little bit. I mean, when it first hits, like I said, it's like having the flu times 100, and you feel horrible for hours and a few days, and you're trying to figure out what do I start taking to make myself feel better. And then your stomach gets all goofed up because that's how it comes out your stomach, and you might be running to the toilet, we call it here, and that kind of thing, and a lot of pain, a lot of discomfort. That keeps happening more frequently and more intense as time goes on. And then you hit that peak point in month 6 through 9 where, literally it just feels like horrible. I mean, I was literally on all fours one night, saying to God, please stop this. And interestingly, the next day I felt better, but it was like that bad. And I know other people that I've helped through this that, they text me or message me and say, oh my God, this can't be the dump. I got to be dying or something. I said, no, it's the dump. Just, it's terrible. There's no words for it. Again, if it's a bad one. So I'll look at the chart right now. This is from Andy Cutler's book. It's the old book I have. I know they have new books now. Maybe the chart's not in there anymore. I am not recommending oral chelation at all. I never did chelation. I don't know why people jump to chelation and think they really need it. I've asked this question many, many times. I can't get an answer from anybody. Again, all I did is boosted my natural detox glutathione. That's all I did. I think maybe a lot of people don't know they have low glutathione or something, and they jump to all these different chelation detox methods because maybe that's the only way to get the stuff out. I did a combination of boosting glutathione with my methyl B vitamins. That was my key thing. I did take that ASEA stuff, which might have been a big help. When I could sweat again, I did, and when I could eat thiol foods, which are sulfur-based, I did. And those all, the foods bond to the bad stuff to get it out of you, and the sweating is a very natural way of kind of chelating, okay? So let's look at the chart. This is again out of the book, page 52 down here. And what this shows you is, here's the 2 to 4 month period, here's the 6 to 9 month period. This goes out 12 to 24 months, okay? So at first, when you get your amalgams out, you feel pretty darn good, and you're feeling better and better. As it goes down, your symptoms are getting less and less, and you're feeling really, really good. Like, wow, I'm getting better. I'm detoxing. Everything must be going right. And then somewhere around, I said 3 to 6 weeks. This says 2 to 4 months. You start feeling crappy, and it hits you like a hammer over the head, and then you start getting worse. And as you approach the 6th to 9th month, it peaks somewhere in there. Like in my 9th month, I was just over the top with crazy symptoms and intensity and just feeling horrible. Somehow I worked through this whole thing. The only thing that got me through it was knowing it was the dump and knowing that I was going to get better. Like, here's the better part. And I just had something to shoot for. I knew that. I trusted it. Like, if you don't know that, I guess it could be very, very hard to go through this. So, probably not the 9th into the 10th month, all of a sudden these symptoms stop. Like this constant, intense feeling of the stuff coming out of you, again, through your digestive system and all that. And all the symptoms starts dying down very quickly. You can see very quickly by the 12th month right here. So 9 months to 12 months, it's only 3 months. It really, really dies out, but you still have symptoms, okay? But less and less and less. And then after about a year, you're feeling pretty darn good, but you still don't feel perfectly right. You still feel like I got a ways to go. Up to 2 years, I was still detoxing. Again, less and less and less of different symptoms. Some symptoms went completely away. Others were hit and miss for a while. I had low energy, adrenal fatigue, chronic fatigue, really, really bad. So that took me like literally 3 years to heal up, I would say. Even after 3 years, when I thought, okay, I'm feeling pretty good now, I got my energy back. I can, work out a little bit. I play drums in a band, so I can play 3 sets without feeling like I'm dead. Um, into the 4th year and even into the 5th year, I still notice improvements. Like, maybe a lot of it's mental too. Like, I use my drum playing as a reference. I could barely, play a set couple when I was really messed up. Not only energy, but just cognitive skills and all that. I literally had to stop for a while. But now I can play. I don't even think about it. I could play, pretty much 3 sets, no problem. I'm like 61 years old, so I'm not as young as I used to be for all that kind of energy. But I can get through it, and I don't worry about it. You're not thinking every minute of the day, do I have enough energy to go up the stairs one more time, or do what I got to do at work or something like that. So it's a total physical, emotional, mental healing that's happening here. Okay, very, very difficult, but if the lights at the end of the tunnel, there's a lot to keep you positive thinking. So, number 11, the dump is the body releasing what is stored in our tissues to the bloodstream. This causes redistribution symptoms as the mercury is now mobile, and that's when we have symptoms. When it's moving around inside is when the symptoms flare up. Okay, as each dump may happen, it's like the body gets ready to release it, and then it dumps it into the blood, and then it takes some time to filter it through the liver and the kidneys, and then out the digestive system. It's kind of a constant process like what I just described there, over and over, from 3 to 6 weeks after that last amalgam all the way out for that first year, and again peaking in that 6 to 9 month. So try to understand number 11 really, really well. It's this continual process that builds in intensity, gets worse and worse, and when it's in your blood moving around, that's when you feel the symptoms. So keep the digestive tract moving. Some say it won't reabsorb when it's in your colon or your large intestine. I think that's incorrect, and I think it can reabsorb. And that was one horrible symptom during my dump. I just felt terrible in that area physically. I didn't know at the time, because you only have, it's your first time going through it, so I didn't know all these different things, and I trusted what certain people told me in certain groups that, oh no, it can't reabsorb. Well, again, I disagree with that, and I wish I would have known, because I would have done a lot of stuff to keep that moving, like even if I had diarrhea all the time, just to get it out. As soon as it sits there, I believe it's reabsorbing and just making you feel terrible. Take vitamin C to keep the symptoms down. You can take it up to bowel intolerance to help keep it moving out. I went to an acupuncture doctor when I was at my peak. I was in really rough shape. My doctor couldn't even get near me. She was very empathetic and couldn't even touch me to diagnose me and stuff like that. She thought I was just so kind of sick inside. And the body really, really wants to get this stuff out, so keep that in mind. Even though you feel so terrible, you know that it's doing its best to heal you. Okay, the body wants to heal. I took up to about 20 grams a day of vitamin C. That's like 21,000 milligram pills. Think about that. I would space them out over the day, like every couple hours, take a couple of them type thing. My one buddy that told me about that, he took like 30 grams a day. So don't be shy about how much you can take. It's a super great healer. Okay, a lot of people cure a lot of things with even intravenous vitamin C. And since I mentioned it, a lot of people get messed up after amalgam removal, and they actually need intravenous vitamin C to help out. So it's always a thought, to get certain treatments as you're going. Selenium, I remember taking. It bonds with what's in your blood. Again, it's moving around in your blood. It's mobile. When it's mobile, that's when you feel the symptoms. If you can take something to stop it from moving or stop it moving so much, vitamin C or selenium, there might be other things that could be very helpful. Be very careful what you eat during this time. If you're thiol intolerant, you don't know you are. Every time you're eating thiols, sulfur-based foods, onion, garlic, broccoli, There's a whole bunch of them. I do a video on it, so look for my video. You could be stirring up the mercury even more by what you're eating. So, something to think about. Number 17, very important. Not everyone is the same. So what works for me may not work for you. So keep to the main key points that I talk about here and realize that everything is an experiment. And you're detoxing, going through this dump. You'll never do it again. You'll never have to do it again. It's the first time you've ever encountered it. So it's the first time your body's ever literally done it. I mean, think about that. So it's a very unique experience for each of us. It's generally what I'm describing, but don't be surprised if yours is a little different one way or the other. Whatever you take to help yourself out, I always say do it slowly until you know it works for you. Take small little doses until you know that it's safe to take. Like literally, some people cannot tolerate certain vitamin C's. Okay, so be very careful. I already mentioned I did take ASEA during my detox. Some say it is a detoxer. It's something people take when they have amalgams and they can't get them removed, so it kind of keeps them going for a while. It does heal at the cellular level, which I liked about it, and that's what this is all about. You're really getting mercury out of cells. I did a cell age test thing that confirmed my cells went from looking like I was about 65 years old when I was really like 56 or something, and now my cells look like I'm 50. So something must have helped that, and I attribute it to the ASEA stuff. So they're just throwing that out there. I don't know if it would help everybody, but it helped me. Try without it, and if you're having struggles, maybe it's something to think about. Again, MTHFR, it was a game changer in my entire detox. I talk about it all the time with anybody that's new that approaches me about things. I don't care what they've been doing or what anybody told them. One of the first things I ask is, are all your amalgams really out? Do you have any specks left in there? And have you looked into MTHFR? I know too many people that have not looked into MTHFR, and they tried to detox, and they literally got damaged to different degrees. So I don't want to get into that too much, but this is serious stuff, and you got to be really, really careful. So that's it. That's my video. I hope that was helpful, and please like and comment and subscribe. And the more comments you leave, other people can read it, help each other, share ideas, share information. If I said something here you totally disagree with, please let me know too. Thanks. Take care.